So, 18th July, 2020. We're 1 week away of Battles of Legend Armageddon, and Zexal locking Numeron combo out of our opponent for days. Until then, however, we just have another weekly meta-analysis of basically the same thing. There's been some shuffle round in the top 5, there's been some shuffle round in the middle 5, but other than that, really speaking, not much has changed. It's still the same format that we've been seeing for probably the last, some would hazard, 2.5 months, really speaking. So going just from the top of the list right away, you can see that the top 5 of Adamancipator, Dinosaur, Salamangreat, Altergeist, and Eldlik have had a little bit of a shuffle round, and that's happened the last couple weeks back to back pretty much. So Salamangreat was the most played deck last week with a 53% win rate. It's now the third most played deck with a 55% win rate. I think it's dropped something like 300 to 400 times played on the list right now. There might actually finally be a realization that while Salamangreat is an old, tried and true deck, Access Code Talker is a really good card. Losing so many cards to the ban list, especially Mirage Stallion now, means that it has a very big time, a very, very hard time struggling to out simple cards on the board or just versing hyper combo strategies. Adamancipator versus Salamangreat, typically speaking, I will see Adamancipator run roughshod over Salamangreat almost any day of the week. And that's kind of borne out in the statistics, because now that Salamangreat's dropped down to third, it means that Adamancipator has taken the top spot with the same win rate as before, but it's gone from second to first, and Dinosaurs has crept up behind it with a 60% win rate going from third to second, so we've had that shuffle round in the top 3. Altergeist was 4th last week with a 60% win rate. It's now 5th with a 60% win rate still, but it's dropped another 200 times played. The kind of favor that the deck got with the 3 multi-faker and like the likeness to the deck may have finally started to wear off. The kind of the case of, yeah, multi-faker going to 3 is nice, but it's still Altergeist. It's still a 2.5-year-old deck at this point. And while it can compete, depending on your skill level with the deck, I wouldn't be surprised if new people trying out the deck, just picking it up, thinking that's going to just win them games, and then getting smashed by just a synchron combo deck, and probably putting it back to the wayside. But still, top 5, can't complain. Pure Eldlik, same win rate as last week at 63%, but now it's in 4th, so it's overtaken Altergeist. Sky Strike has picked up 3 more percentage points. It's gone back to a 52% win rate, so it's back to that 50% plus. I still don't understand why people play Sky Striker in this days. It's just 15 hand trap plus 3 Mystic Mine deck. It really doesn't make any sense why people still play this deck. It's just another version of Mind Control at this point. It's still in 6th position though. Eldlik Synchron's actually fallen off a little bit. There could be a mass abandonment of the deck just on the basis of we are sick and tired of just playing the same deck that just wins games simply by existing. It's dropped 2 points. It's gone down from 70 to 69%, and it's gone from 7th most played to 9th. Now, on the list, that's only like a 200 times played drop, but I had a look at last week's figures, and Eldlik Synchron was played 1,600 times last week. So that's actually a pretty substantial drop for the times played. It could also be a case of people just waiting for the next set to come out in Armageddon and going, we don't think that this deck will be viable for playing because Numeron beats Synchron any day of the week. That could be the thought pattern. I don't know about that one, but it's being left to the wayside again. Quite interesting considering it is the best deck of the room. Mermail went from 8th to 12th, dropped 4 positions. However, it only lost 1 percentage point in the win rate. Now, as I've said before, once you get past the 8th, 9th, 10th position, the difference in times played is only like 500 times played from 20th to 10th. So these kinds of shuffle rounds will happen. This is where we just start looking at the respective win rate. And that's really what we want to take into consideration here, is like the underdog deck. Orcus kept the win rate, dropped to 10th position from 9th. Madolche climbed 3 percentage points, went to 62%, and it went 3 positions on the map from 10th into 7th. I'd be very interested to see just what exactly Madolche players have done to change up the decks to bring this massive climb. There's always been this thing with Madolche the last few weeks where it's climbed up in positions into the top 10, then dropped back out, and it's climbed back up, and then it's dropped down, and it's climbed back up again. It's just doing this yo-yo kind of scenario. It'd be very interesting to have a look at some Madolche deck lists and just have an idea of what exactly are they changing in order to make this deck viable, and then what happens in response to them, because something must be pushing them back out, because that's what's been happening. Burning Abyss is now in 8th position with a 47% win rate. Can people please stop playing this deck? I'm sick and tired of seeing it. Heroes climbed 4 percentage points in their win rate, 53%, and they climbed from 12th to 11th. fine. Invoked is still in 13th, but lost 3 percentage points. Again, 22 hand trap dot deck will do well in this format because it's seen these days that an average of 12 hand traps is standard, and Invoked can do that with ease, but a single Macabre just generally doesn't do enough. Mix it with Mech Knights, you'll do better. Subterra's lost 1 percentage point in the win rate, statistically insignificant. They're still at a 60% win rate in 14th. I am going to go on a limb that probably this time 2 weeks from now, when they get a full handle of the new Numeron support, I will not be surprised if Subterra jumps into the top 10 and stays there. It's one of the best decks for using the new Numeron support. Video coming out on Zexal. The Zexal play with the new Numeron support that should be coming out on YouTube 2 days after this is released, and for those watching on Twitch, you'll get to see it in a couple hours. So, but I will not be surprised if it's top 10 in 2 weeks time when we get some data with the new support. It'd be very interesting to see actually what decks can actually make use of the Zexal Turbo, as we going to have to refer to it from now on. Mine Burn dropped a percentage point and a place down to 53% win rate and 16th. Cyber Dragon went from 16th to 15th on most played and climbed 4 percentage points. Subdragon's always been floating around this point. This is no real surprise to anyone. Zodiac, however, is a surprise as it continues to drop from 17th position as most played to 19th with only 52% win rate. The Infinitrack Link 3 is something that this deck can really get into. Dryden is still a really oppressive card and an impressive card, but it might be just a case of with only one Dryden, they lose the grind game. Zodiac's best game was Tempo. It was the Salomon grade of 2017. It just kept playing the same thing over and over again, just kept re-establishing Dryden. You'd remove it, it would come back. They'd slip a Whiptail underneath it, and they'd get rid of your Macabre and get it into the banish pile. And then they'd just drop another Dryden on boards. You're just constantly dealing with Dryden. With only one copy of Dryden, however, they might have this issue of constantly having to try and re-establish it, because now they've got to constantly shuffle it back. And there might be in some respect, in the top decks, them putting in an Xyz monster that they can get to easily. They can out the Infinitrack Link 3, whether it be on its summon or reactively on the next turn after it comes out. So that could be some cases why Zodiac has been falling on the list down to the 19th position. Thunder Dragon or Titan Control has climbed to 17th position with a 53% win rate. It's kind of been floating around here the entire time. Seeing people mess around with Chaos Thunder Dragon with the new Chaos support with Chaos Creator. If Colossus was still in the format, Glade, this deck would be amazing. Generators have fallen back off the list. They're in 22nd position with a 49% win rate. Shadows have climbed to 18th. I don't know why. It's only got a 40% win rate. It's a crap deck. Can we just stop playing Shadows, please? Invoked Mech Knight climbed back into the list in 20th position with a 60% win rate, but it's dropped 6 percentage points in its win rate. It was 66 last week. But again, when you get to the point of only being played 550 times, all it takes is somebody losing 20, 30 times, and that'll tank the percentage. So as long as it's above 60%, you got to keep looking at it. I'm dropping Necros from the list in its totality. It's never climbed over a 40% win rate this entire format. I'm not going to look at it anymore. But Eldlik Invoked I keep looking at because even though it barely gets played, it's still got a very high win rate because it's Eldlik plus Engine. And it's always interesting to see what kind of win rate the older version of the deck does against something like Eldlink Synchron. The difference is only 5 percentage points, and that could be just in the basis of the ability to draw 4 and establish Savage, compared to just cycling back Alistair and putting Macabre on board. So takeaways from this is nothing has really changed when it comes to the board really at all. It's just minute shuffling back and forth and some changes with its percentages. You might just start seeing a little bit less Altergeist now week to week to week because of the realization that 3 Multifaker does not blow the water out of the deck. It's probably actually the realization that Multifaker going to 1 wasn't even necessary to begin with. Necros drop. I don't care if you got 3 Unicorn, who cares? Cannerhawk, whoop-de-doo, we haven't seen Ritual Beast come in. Ritual Beast can get all their cards back, who gives a damn? But apart from that, really speaking, it's not much of a change when it comes down to like the top 10, even the top 12. You're going to be seeing pretty much the same stuff in Dueling Book now, so long as you're playing strictly with the TCG rulings and the TCG released sets. But this will change 4 to 5 days from now, from the video being shown on Twitch. But basically, next Thursday is when we get Battles of Legend Armageddon, when we get the new Numeron support. Now, because of how strong Zexal Turbo is and how few counters there is to that move if you're caught going second against it, I would not be surprised if things like Altergeist, Subterra, and Eldlik especially start putting use of Numeron in the deck as a sub-engine with their mains, a Subterra Numeron, Eldritch Numeron, Altergeist Numeron, because you can get away without playing Extravagance. It's only 4 cards in your extra for a card that literally says you don't play. And if you're caught going against it going second, there's so few hand traps that stop Zexal from appearing on the board. But we won't see that kind of statistical data until 2 weeks from now. But that is your meta analysis for the 18th of July 2020. We're meant to be having a ban list on September 1st. Do not be surprised if it's only a release list like the last one. So get ready for Numeron and get ready for 5 to 6 weeks of Yugi. No, you're not playing anymore. I'll see you next week.